Alright, so we'll be continuing with our review of the United States versus the United Kingdom from the Overwatch World Cup, picking up where we left off, which was, I believe, United States attack, which, if memory serves, they got completely destroyed on, so this should be pretty interesting to see. Deeper than the sea, want your own, take me home. Place, yeah, okay, here we go. Dude, this World Cup viewer is so nice. I love playing with it. Yeah, there we go. Okay. All right. Okay, so just waiting for everybody to get in position. Okay, so UK is running Goat's defense. This is good. Can confirms Fusions is a Nutty Reinhardt player. When you have a Nutty Reinhardt player, it's pretty good to play Goats. I good to see China. Yeah, China did really good overall. Really impressed by their gameplay. Okay, let's go ahead and pause. Toggle that on. Almost speed. All right, so UK is running Goats. Nothing to comment on. US is running Dive. Sombra Genji Dive. Okay. Sombra Genji Dive is good overall. I'd like to see them play a Sombra Doomfist instead of a Sombra Genji. I think Sombra Doomfist has a better matchup into Goats, particularly into Moira Goats. That being the case because when you're running Moira Goats, you don't have the CC that you get when you play Ana, and you also don't have to worry about purples, so it's just easier to play Doom without getting punished. So, I'd like to see US swap over from Genji to Doomfist, but besides that, I think their comp's fine. We'll just see how that plays out here. Okay, so a sneaky engage coming out of UK. This is good. This is a really big point. That's actually really, really good. So, if we rewind it like a second here. There we go. Controls area thing. Okay. So, right here. US should know. They should, yeah, lose your shot. Okay, so the US knows that UK is inside this room, right? So at this point, the backline for UK or US, Moth and Raucus, should be up on this high ground here, or pathing back alley to get onto this high ground. One of the two. If they stay on low ground here, they're going to die. Like, as a support backline against Goats, you can't stay low ground, because they'll just be able to kill you most of the time. So you have to be very careful with that. So, for the US, their backline should be playing to rotate onto high ground, and the remaining bulk of the US should be playing slow, waiting for the UK to rotate, or waiting for their backline to be in position, and then pressuring out to point. UK here, in a second, will be pressuring out, and then they have two options. They can either go on the bulk of USA over here, or on the supports. If they go onto the backline, USA will either counter dive onto their supports, or will go point and possibly get a tick. But if you kill the backline of the US definitely loses the fight, and they won't be able to do anything. So, going onto the backline here, I believe, is the right play, in my most humble opinion. Okay, well, not really that humble opinion, but in my opinion, I think going on the backline is the right play. You kill Raucus, they don't have enough healing. Smex gets back in time to stop the tick. JK, they walk off the point and give a tick instead. They theoretically get back in time to stop the tick, but they misplay it. Sinatra is getting staggered. He lives, that's good on him. Yesterday in our review, we commented that Sinatra had a bit of a tendency to be out of position here, so we're going to be watching for that to be the case. Swapping to a mirror Goats, but Goats with Zen. Goats with Zen into Moira. I think Zen has a bit of an advantage, but you have to play it right. So we'll go ahead and slow it nicely down and talk about the mirror matchup right here. Okay, so HP pools are relatively even. Sinatra's being very aggressive and still a self bubble. Fusions gets an ally bubble. At the same time, Muma gets an ally bubble. So this would allow both of them to be aggressive and swing. Fusions, of course, doesn't have an ult because he was already on Ryan. Sinatra does... Okay, so this is really big by Sinatra. This is ping-ponging, which is a topic that I talk about a lot, but the basic premise is your first tank walks forward and takes damage. He gets low-ish on HP, and he cycles backwards. The next tank walks forward and takes HP's worth of damage, and then cycles backwards, while the third tank walks forward, takes damage, and then cycles back. This is ping-ponging your tanks, and by the time the third tank is done taking damage, your first tank can retake the fight with full HP. It's the way to most efficiently cycle your HP so that you're constantly carrying your HP efficiently. Kib goes for Bash, hits Sinatra though, which infects their ping-pong. They aren't able to capitalize on it and full kill him. Hydration does a good job of face tanking to stop the push, and he also doesn't get punished for face tanking. Do I have game sound turned off? I do have game sound turned off. That would explain some things. Hold on, boys. Okay, I just realized that. Sorry, game sound's back on. Game sound's also at like 2 volume. Hold on. Okay, there you go.
I'm gonna have to shoot you down.
Is that too loud? That should be fine.
Get through this.
So they're just kind of sitting here, minding their own business. Fight restabilized at this point. Both sides engaged. No advantage was achieved, so they decided to kite back and reset, waiting for one side or the other to have a distinct advantage.
Time to raise my AP.
Muma charges in. Brig counters it. Brig gets low, but gets booped away. Fusions is busy swinging away like a madman on Muma and putting him in a really bad position. Gets ult. That sounds... Is that really loud for you guys? That sounds really loud for me. Drop it to like 60 and see if that makes it better. Okay.
I'm gonna have to shoot you down.
Cruz is in the middle of Narnia, trying to keep everybody alive. Gets booped deeper into his team, which is good. D.Va zones him back out. He gets break healed till he lives.
To raise my APM.
Smex gets on to contest the point finally before they give a tick.
I'm gonna have to shoot
Look
you
at...
down.
Look at... Oh, I broke something. Okay, hold on. Okay, there we go. Right here. Look at how split USA is. Like, Sinatra's here. D.Va's here. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna... need to turn the volume back down. Sorry, chat. You're not gonna get volume. Okay. So, look at how split they are. Space is off to the right by himself. Sinatra's off to the left by himself on point. Muma's already dead. Moth and Raucus are in the middle of Narnia. Like, this is a very split fight for the US. At this point, you just need to be resetting and moving on. No point in playing together, or no point in taking this fight. You're just going to lose. So go ahead and reset. At this point, it's a lost fight for the US, so it's just them resetting. Coming to this next fight, UK's play is for Shatter. Is it bad that I have more trouble watching it this way than if it was a little faster? You know, I mean, it happens. Also, hey, welcome to the stream. I hope your stream was good. Okay, so here comes the fight. We'll rewind it and talk about it real quick, just so we can get into all the glorious detail that this viewer provides us the ability to do. So they're minding their own business. Fight devolves. Smex goes deep. Space goes to counter. Both divas are at this moment occupied. Space uses up all of his DM right here. They get a grab onto Hydration and Muma. At the same time, they beam. So an aggressive grab beam. They start swinging into the grab. Raucus tranks the grab. Good play from Raucus. Keeps everybody healed up. Smex is doing a good job of just being a distraction in the backline. As little as they're paying attention, but nonetheless, he's providing an extra angle of damage. Does he D.Va bomb? There's no way he D.Va bombs here, right? Okay. So a very late D.Va bomb to the Grav D.Va combo. I think okay, so the reasoning I think behind this is they wanted to see if they can get value out of the Grav by itself, and then when they didn't get value from the Grav, then they decided to commit the D.Va bomb to make sure they won the fight. Again, take another second to look at this. Look at how split USA is once again. They have a 2-3-1 split going on right now. We have Cruz in the bottom left, main tank and Zarya there, and then the other three sitting in the corner. So very, very split positioning from the US. D.Va bomb lands, doesn't get value, but Muma and Sinatra are both very split, so both of these guys should be easy pick-off targets if UK commits. UK doesn't commit though. They get grabbed. Cruz beats to counter the grab. This is good on Cruz. Moth beats to counter the beat from Cruz. Again, like we talked about yesterday, it's just resetting tempo, so it's an even keel and not in someone's favor. Space D.Va bombs the grab. Bubbles are used appropriately, but get burnt before the bomb blows up. But Fusions is able to shield, so he doesn't die. At this point, we need to be watching for Bash Shatters coming out of Fusions. That's going to be their big play, is trying to get a Shatter play. Hydration's doing a very good job of staying with Moth here. Or sorry, Hydration's doing a very good job of staying with Muma so that he doesn't get shattered. Sinatra needs to not be over here. He needs to be with his Reinhardt and Bridget. These three people should always be together. These three people are the primary reasons why you don't get shattered and why you don't get back shattered, and why if you do, you can counter it. So looking for those three to be playing together. Brig Bash comes in. Brig Hydration isn't able to counter Kib's Bash, and Sinatra isn't able to bubble Muma. At this point, it's a free shatter, which hits a 4-man, and that's a 1 fight for UK. I feel like USA didn't have much of a plan going into most of their fights, IMO. I don't think it's so much that it was... I think it'd be unfair to say at a professional level that the teams don't have plans. I think more of what we're seeing is that United States wasn't super confident in their Goats v Goats matchup, because a lot of Goats is very micro stuff. Like I talked about like right here a second ago, right? Where Sinatra's off over here and Ryan Bridget are sitting here, right? If instead of being off on the side, if Sinatra was with the rest of his group here and he could self-bubble to block the shatter, then this wouldn't happen. Like, we can see by the combos that the US is using that they have an idea of what they want to do, right? Like, they're going for the Bash Shatters, they're going for Grav Diva combos, stuff like that. Like, they know how to, like, do the basic combos. It's just, they're not as familiar with all the nuances of Goats comp as UK is. So because of that, they're not able to make the plays UK is. Like, this play right here from the UK was a really solid play. Like, they went for a classic Bash Shatter, which is very similar to what the US did. But they got more value out of it because Sinatra wasn't playing with his Ryan Bridget, whereas when the US went for it, the Ryan Bridget and the UK were playing together with his Zarya. Yeah, they're also very split, the US is. I definitely agree with that. US is playing split and needs to not be doing that. Splitting as Goats is like a big no-no. Okay, so they get a 5 or 4-man shatter. UK does. They're not able to finish up on it. Fusions ends up getting picked. Cruz commits and kills Raucous. And yep, nice. Commits and kills Raucous. So it's an even fight once again. UK and US are both grouped on each other. Hydration overcommits here when the rest of the team is peeling and dies for it. Or should at least die for it? Question mark. Okay, yeah. Oh, he should not have rallied there. That is definitely a wasted ult from him. This fight's already over. He's just going to feed them more HP now. I mean, he gets out, so it's not as bad, but that was definitely a bad play from Hydration. Definitely shouldn't have used Rally there. Fight was already lost 100% by the time he used it. Okay, coming into this next fight, US almost has Bash Shatter, and UK is trying to play for Grav, so we'll be looking for the matchup here. On the side of UK, the way they realize their win condition of Grav is by canceling out Space's Diva. So they need to force out the DM or bash the Diva to enable the Grav. On the other side, US is playing to finish building Muma's Shatter and then play for Bash Shatter like we just saw Fusion's try to do. Okay, so they go for a Shatter, but they don't Bash Shatter, so it gets literally no value. Also, Raucous splits and gets punished. If we slow it down, Raucous splits to the side. How does Raucous get punished? Who even kills him? Raucous dies here, right? No? Okay, he just gets beamed. So they try to pull the trigger because Raucous is getting beamed to death. So they try to do something. So Muma forces the Shatter without getting value. So again, like you can see that they had a plan there, right? They were playing for Shatter, but they didn't follow it up the way that UK did, where they went for the clean Bash Shatters after they forced bubbles. So it's not that they don't have a plan, it's just they're not necessarily executing it well. And they also, once again, split, which really punished them. At this point, UK does a good job of just pushing forward and cleaning them up. Control, take me home. Okay, coming to this next fight, UK has no ult besides Beam, so I just expected for them to play very aggressive with the Beam. US is playing for a Grav. So they activate the Beam, and they run forward with the base cannon. Hydration's in the middle of Narnia, deciding to sit inside the entire team. And Sinatra gets caught by himself, is forced to grab because he doesn't want to die without grabbing. The fight's committing on the grab. UK already got 2 picks, so they're even, or they're up 1 now. Fusions get stunned, and I think he should die here. Okay, he doesn't die. Whoever booped him backwards is a big noob. AKA, Hydration. Hydration moved him back, so he's the big noob. At this point, UK is just resetting to the point.
Now show them.
Both sides are just stabilizing now. US has an advantage and needs to push this. They should have pushed a lot faster here. They shouldn't have waited. US was waiting for respawners to come in from spawn. They wanted Sinatra and Rockus to get here, but they already had Moth on Hydration. Both of them had ults. They should have just pushed in and used their ults aggressively since they had numbers on UK. Yo, what's up, corn dog? So US finally gets their shatter off. Beats cancel each other out. A late trank. This trank was too early. The trank came out too early from Rockus. He used it while the beat was still up and nobody needed it. He definitely should have held until people were low HP so he could reset their HP pools. Like, right now would be a really great time to have that right as they get graphed. But unfortunately, he used it earlier when they didn't need it, so he doesn't have it now. Also, let me know if this frames are dropping. I had an issue with that yesterday, so if frames start dropping, start yelling at me, chat. Yeah, and at this point, it's just a lost fight for the US. US really misplayed that. They had a bunch of combos they could have gone for that they didn't go for. They had combos they could have gone for that they didn't hit. They overused ultimates, and they used ultimates as just really bad time. Like, a couple really wasted rallies coming out of... Hydration, a weird train coming out of Rockus, some poor positioning overall. Just really sloppy play from US, looking very uncomfortable on Goat's comp. Corn Dog, thanks for the follow, Dougie. Alright, so that was Ilios, that was King's Row. On to Volskaya. 2ZP, arguably the best game mode and onside of all of Overwatch. Definitely my favorite. Definitely the most skill intensive in my opinion. Really looking forward to going over this. It seems very skippy. If it's supposed to be fluid gameplay, then it definitely isn't. I mean, I'm having it at like 25% speed and slowing it down, so that might be it. I'm not sure. I'll run it at normal speed for a fight here, and we'll see if it's still droppy. Let me know. Go ahead and skip forward to when the actually fight starts, or less. Okay. I'll go ahead and rewind real quick, and we're good to go. Oh, that's too far, isn't it? Yeah, it's too far. All right. All right. Country roads take me home to the place. How did I scuff it this badly? Just rewind to the beginning then. All right, we'll just play from the beginning. Sorry, chat. I am a bad streamer. I apologize. I apologize. Okay. Alright, so this is actually what they're running. Alright, let's look at the compositions. On the defense, we have Team USA running a fairly typical defense. Running Soldier instead of a different hit scan. It depends on the matchup. Soldier's viable, Widow's viable, Kree's viable, Trace is viable. Any of those hit scans work. You basically just want a hit scan in Sinatra spot. So any hit scan works. Just depends on what you think they're going to be running. So you play to counter that. For example, if you think they're running snipers, you should be running a sniper. If you think the opposing team will be running a heavy dive, then Soldier or Kree works pretty well. If you think they're going to be running like a more goatsy style of comp, then Soldier, Widow, Tracer, any of them works. Just depends on what you think the other team is playing, so you play to their matchup. On the other side, we have UK's attack, where they're running double sniper, Mercy, Zen, dive tanks. Okay, so the way UK is going to look to approach this is they're going to play it zone by zone. So this is a topic that you will hear me preach to the heavens about consistently and constantly because it is very, very important. So we're going to go all the way up and then we will briefly break this concept down. Okay, so playing zone by zone basically means that you divide the map into a bunch of different zones. So for example, this is zone 1. This is zone 2. This is 3, 4, and 5. So there's 5 different zones right here, right? So the way UK will be looking to play this is they'll path through main, then they'll look to completely clear zone 1. Once zone 1 is completely clear, they know there's no flankers, they know there's no Sombra hiding, there's nothing, it's completely clear. Once they have that clear and they take the zone, then they'll look to push forward from there. So then they'll push forward to the next zone, and they'll completely clear zone 2. Then once they completely clear zone 2, then they'll call where to push from next. So they'll say, all right, you know, have our tanks dive zone 3 and clear that, and the rest of us go point. Or, okay, let's have our tanks dive zone 4, and our tracer can clear zone 3, and the rest of us will go in zone 5 on point, right? So that's what I mean by playing by zone by zone. It's taking space consistently and concisely, and once you have the space, make sure that you fully clear it and that there's nobody lurking around in the corners that can pick you off. So once again, UK will be looking to take space, and once they have zones cleared, they'll look to set up their snipers there or there, most likely. They might do a play, situationally, where they rotate all the way through on left to take this high ground, and once they have this high ground, they'll play from there. But I don't expect them to do that. Like I said, I expect them to play from one of these two angles, looking to apply pressure to the various high grounds and force the other side off of them. So let's see if I'm right or wrong. If you think the enemy team is running dive, why would you pick Soldier over McCree? It's situational. Kree is better if you want hard CC because he has the flashbang and he has the combat roll. So Kree's Soldier has a longer fall off damage range than McCree does, right? So if a soldier is sitting up here, he can shoot anywhere, right? Like he can shoot all of this without an issue, without losing damage, right? Like his bullets will do the same amount of damage no matter where he's shooting. So Soldier's good for this. If you're having a Kree who's sitting here, he can shoot to like about that blue square, and then anywhere back here, his bullets start doing less damage. So because of that, Kree's a little bit less effective at longer range for early poke, but once he gets dove, he can flashbang and help sustain that way. But conversely, Soldier also has the heal pad, so while he can also do damage at this long range over here, if he gets jumped, he can kite back a step or two and then place heal pad down, which allows him to heal both of his supports as well. And if Soldier places a heal pad, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, heal pad does 30 HPS, which is increased by 30% when the Ana nades it. And then the Zen can also orb somebody, and the Ana can pocket people. So it's very, very hard to die as a backline if you get jumped, if you're running a Soldier. Okay, so if we look, UK did what we thought they were going to do. They took space and they played an angle. They did an okay job of clearing space, because if we toggle on the indicators, we can see that Zachary's still behind them, which is something that we shouldn't really be having happening, but it's also very, very hard to clear clear Sombras completely, so it's not the worst problem. At this point, they're just posturing for advantage, so both sides are trying to, like we said, clear space and take space. So right now, the map differential, let's get a block line. Okay, so the map right now, as far as UK is concerned, is this line here represents the breaking point, right? So UK controls, let's go blue for UK and pink. So UK thinks they control this half, and they think the US controls this half. But is an animated 50% increase, not 30%? It could be. I could completely have my numbers wrong. But in reality, UK also, or US rather, also controls this whole area over here because of where Zachary is. So to reiterate, UK thinks that they control everything behind this black line and thinks US controls everything in front of it. But in reality, the line looks something much more similar to like that. That's more what UK controls, whereas US controls the rest. So both sides are posturing to take as much space as possible to enable a dive, or to stop a dive before it happens. So right here, we see UK pressures in and they force the point. This means that the tanks from USA will have to fight them on the point, which is very scary for USA's tanks, because the other team is running double sniper with a Mercy Zen, which basically means that the other team does a lot of damage real quick. They have damage boosted Hanzo plus Discord, can like shred tanks, damage boosted headshot from a Widow onto a Discord target, also shreds tanks. So right here, USA are being very careful with where they're positioned. They're trying to walk out a little bit, contest point, and then rotate back. And like we talked about with Goats, they're going to make sure they're trying to ping pong their HP pool, right? So when one tank gets low, they'll cycle back, and then they'll go back and forth. It is 50%? Okay, I stand corrected then. So Ananade does 50%, not 30%. What was I thinking of that does 30? I could have sworn something did 30. Oh, it's 30% damage reduction with Nano. That's what I was thinking about. My bad. Or no, is it 50 for that too? I don't know what I was thinking about. Anyways, 30% damage reduction, or healing additional when you need. Yesterday, they might have much less, but at the same time, UK is still more compact. Yeah, that is correct. But at the same time, USA with this composition doesn't want to be playing together. They want to be playing very split. They'd want to be playing in a probably a 3-3 split, unless UK dove, in which case they want to be playing in a 4-2 split. What I mean by that is for UK, sorry, not UK, US. For USA, they want their Soldier, Mercy, or sorry, Soldier, Zen, Ana playing together. And they want their Winston, Sombra, and Diva playing aggressively. So they want a 3-3 split with their composition. So what we see here is the Sombra is on a flank to apply pressure to the backline, and the tanks are playing together. So then these groups will look to pressure out, while the backline for USA sits on a high ground and controls it. So while USA is more split than the UK, they actually want to be doing that in this instance, unlike on last map where they want to be playing together. Okay, so Kib overextends and gets picked, which is bad on him. UK should be pushing forward to res this, which they do. They end up getting it off the res, but they didn't put enough resources into that. Smek should have been a lot further forward. So how do you know if you want to do a 3-3 or a 4-2 or another split? A lot of playtime, first of all. And then you typically have your in-game leader call it. So, for example, the leader for USA is Moth. He's the more vocal person on the team. So he would say, like, in this situation, he'd say, okay, let's play to control the point, and let's do a 3-3 split with the backline playing top left. So that means that the 3 people of the backline will be playing on the top left over here at point 2, and the 3 people of the front line will be playing to control the point. Now, controlling the point doesn't just mean sitting on the point. It also means controlling the areas that lead to the point and the points that could threaten their control of the point. Like those 3 squares with X's that I just drew. Those 3 areas. Well, I guess up here too. Those 4 areas. So they want to control this area to stop them from getting to point, while the backline sits and controls the high ground. So to answer your question more succinctly, your IGL will typically tell you if you want to be doing what split, and the IGL knows from a lot of playtime and a lot of review. Okay, so Sinatra's on low ground here, which he kind of has to be, because you can't really, as a backline, you can't play on the high ground, because you'd be playing into the sniper's LOS, which is very dangerous, of course. Everybody knows you don't want to be playing in sniper's LOS. So because of that, they're rotating and playing angles where they can't be shot as easily. At this point, the fight's just stalemating. They're just waiting to posture again and trying to control point and see who has an advantage. Muma gets nanoed here, which burns fusion very fast, and they are able to push off this. At this point, US should win this fight in theory, as long as they don't feed, so they do a good job of pressuring forward to confirm their advantage. It's a big thing to, when you have an advantage, realize that you have an advantage, and then convert that advantage. So they realized that they had the advantage, that they were in a 5v6 scenario with a Nano Winston, and then they took advantage of that and converted that into a 1 fight by applying pressure to the rest of the team, forcing the kills onto UK. Maybe, you know what we'll do? Instead of continuing to do top-down review, we'll look at a player and go through a fight with each player or 2, and we'll talk about what we're doing and what we're seeing on them. Let's do space first, so we'll do space cam. Okay, there we go. Okay, so right here, I hit the wrong button again. So right here, Space is doing a really good job of just scouting. So as a Diva player, you have the largest amount of armor on your team. So because of that, your designated duty is to be scouting. So you're setting up in a forward position and you're looking to see where the enemy team is going and if they made any comp swaps, whatever they're doing. So you're basically just sitting forward and communicating what's going on. At this point, he sees they're coming in main, so he's backing up to fulfill his original objective of playing to control the point. He's just trading damage and getting a little bit of poke in right here. This is all good. His DM usage is okay. He's trying to control tempo, but he doesn't really have a lot of DM. This would be concerning for me if I knew that the other team was pressuring to go more aggressively on my backline. But in general, it's not the biggest deal because he has enough time to wait. Notice here how he's making sure that his DM recharges before he re-engages. He's not re-engaging when he doesn't have DM at all. He gets pressured out because he has low DM and is in an awkward position, so he resets to high ground. He starts matrixing Muma to keep him alive during his primal. At this point, he goes to help Zachary, who unluckily gets picked off by Hansa, and then manages to finish up the solo kill. Covering the res from the Mercy to make sure she doesn't go for it. He sees the Mercy drop to go for the res and collapses on her. Realizes that he's in a dangerous position, and he would lose mech if he tried to continue to kill the Mercy, so he resets. Gets brought very low. Muma saves him with a nice bubble, and Rockets hits him with a nice nade. Or sorry, Moth hits him with a nice nade. At this point, the Winston jumps in. He knows Rockets has a trance, so he doesn't need to peel for the backline. Instead, he can look to pressure out the backline of the United Kingdom. So I expect to see him go on Boombox and Kib in a second here. So he almost eats the dragon. Boombox pops trance, so he no longer wants to go on Boombox. He's just playing to control the point. Okay, so he goes for a Diva Bomb. I think he saw Bubble Bee use, which is what caused that. This dislocates UK, and if we go to free cam real here, we'll see that the UK is now very split, almost as split as the US. So we have 2 players over here, another 2 players over here, 1 player here, 1 player here. So UK is very split, so at this point, US should be looking to play together and to pick a single target to collapse on. Peels for his backline. This is good. Gets on the Winston. He should be able to clean up the kill there. He knows they just EMP'd on point, so he's rotating towards it. He backs up because he doesn't want to solo contest, because solo contesting right here will just kill him. So he knows that he has respawners coming back in with Nano, so he can just wait, give them a tick, or maybe even 2, and then recontest onto the point afterwards. As long as Sinatra doesn't feed here, which I'm pretty sure Sinatra's about to feed, but there's only so much you can do. So he gives them a tick, then he recommits when Muma goes in. Plays slow here, because again, he doesn't want to feed his mech. He's just making sure to carry his HP efficiently. Zachary feeds again, unlucky. He goes forward to trade some poke, gets orb, so he heals up. Here's Mercy going for the res, but isn't able to cancel it. He should have been able to cancel that there. He shouldn't have backed up that far. Instead, he should have waited where he was originally, slightly headed around the corner to bait it, and then boosted to cancel the res. He goes to peel for Raucus, because he sees Raucus needs help. This is very good. Very good heads-up play from space. At this point, he knows he's about to die, and he can't save Raucus, so he's just going to try to get out of there with boosters in a second. Ends up losing mech in the process, so he isn't able to. At this point, it's a lost fight for them, and they're just going to triple onto point and die 1 by 1. And that is the remaining bit of first point. Who should we spectate next fight? Kib's been popping off. Let's do Kib. Okay, so Kib almost has Dragon, and they don't have anything to combo with it. So for this next fight, he's going to be looking to open the fight with a pick, and then use Dragon to force USA to split, and then follow up on that. Video is choppy for me. Is it choppy or anything else? It should calm down in a second after you watch for a second. Also, I'm play pausing the video a lot. So like, if you see this, it's just me play pausing the video to explain stuff. I'm also changing the speed of the video, so it will be affected by that, theoretically. Doesn't show that I'm dropping any frames, so it should just be me constantly play pausing the video and the stream delay because of that. Okay, so Kib takes high ground control. At this point, he's just sitting here to hold. Yeah, he's just sitting here to hold, waiting, just trying to get poke out for free. Sonics to see who's up on the high ground, gets his dragon the rest of the way. Like we said earlier, at this point, he's going to be looking to use a dragon to zone them. Muma jumps in. When Muma jumps in here, he is forced to peel. Doesn't really get any value. Muma ends up feeding, which is pretty unlucky for Muma. Okay, there's the dragon we talked about. He uses this dragon specifically to peel for the other, to force the other team to split. So now USA is forced to react and split. He hits a nice little. He forces Trank. They Diva Bomb as well, so he's forced to rotate on the high ground here. He Sonics to see where the supports are on the back. He realizes he can't do anything to him, so he switches over here instead to focus on the DPS sitting in front of him and try to zone them or get a pick. Here's the Winston jump behind him. He switches to Stormbow. When you're playing Hanzo against the Winston, you should almost always be saving your Stormbow specifically to deal with Winstons, particularly if they dive your backline. Stormbow really blows up a discordant Winston, which we'll see here in a second. Look at just Muma's HP is gone from that. So at this point, he's just peeling for his backline. The rest of his team is kind of dying on point because they don't have supports, because Muma's doing an excellent job of peeling UK's supports off of them. So this fight's lost, and he's just resetting. Space overextends to try to get a pick, which he's very good at capitalizing on. If Muma walks out of his bubble here, Muma will also die. So Muma should make the right decision to not chase and just run away. That being said, he gets healed the full and makes the engage, which gets value. Good job on Mumo. Okay, let's spectate somebody else. Moth should be a good player to look at. Let's watch Moth for this fight. Okay, so Moth's being a good little Ana player and sitting in the middle of Africa, waiting for his team to reset to him, now that they've gone and done their thing. Okay, so he nanos the Winston, or nano Winston EMP. Drops for the nade. This is good play. He's just making sure that he's rotating to constantly be in LOS of his team so that he can help heal them. And then he tries for the yellow sleep, but doesn't get it. Okay, so overall fine play from Moth there. Nothing really too crazy to talk about. We'll switch over to Raucus Cam for this one. Okay, so Raucus is going to be trying to build his Trank in time to cancel out the primal of fusions, most likely. So we expect to see Raucus firing out a lot of right clicks, pre-fire angles, and just in general trying to be a lot of spammy boy, trying to build it up. So start seeing the right clicks right now. Jiggling back and forth. Muma's your spirit animal. Dude, Muma's amazing. Okay, so he is able to farm up his Trank time, which is good. He just does a good job of juggling orbs and making sure that he's outputting damage to build up Trank. Once an ult is committed that he could Trank, he Tranks to make sure everybody stays alive. He doesn't get space. He could have rotated over and saved space there, I'm pretty sure. Trank is just trying to being Tranky boy. I have this capped at FPS. Hold on, I'm gonna check this real quick because I don't think I have my FPS checked. I don't. Okay, let's go ahead and cap that at 60. Okay, that should make it a little bit less laggy. Maybe? Oh, hold on. Do I also have a... Huh. Hey, chat, I think I might have figured out why it was a little bit crazy there. Let's just go ahead and change that to high settings. And then cap it at 60 FPS. Huh. Okay, that should fix some things here. I was wondering why I looked a little laggy. Okay, so at this point, Raucus is just kind of chilling, trying not to burn, trying not to die, just trying to do as much as little as Zen can in the situation. He gets primal, so he can't really do anything. At this point, it's a lost fight for US. UK should win this. All they have to do is just make sure they efficiently focus targets, which they do. So good job on the UK. That was a nice clean take from them. Yo, Genocide, thanks for the follow, dog. Let's go ahead and give it the old skipperoonie. Okay, there we go. Did I skip too far? Holy. Okay. I skipped too far, boys. Hold on. Okay, there we go. Okay. So, UK, or US is on the attack. They are playing a Sombra Tracer dive. This is very good. This dive will probably be a 4-2 or a 3-3 split. If it's a 4-2, only the supports will be playing back and playing together. If it's a 3-3, then the D.Va will be joining the back line, playing the peel. I expect for them to do a 4-2 dive, though, not a 3-3 dive. But yes, that is the same sheep. You are not wrong. Also, don't be sorry to ask. This is, after all, a Q&A stream. Feel free to ask questions. Okay, so US does a good job of zoning out UK and applying pressure them, forcing them to start cutting back. Kib hits a nice shot onto Moth, which enables them to get a beautiful opening pick. And at this point, US should be resetting because you don't really want to be pushing down a support in most situations. Okay, so US tanks are being very aggressive here for no real reason. Okay, that was a big feat by US tanks. Their team wasn't in a position to help them, and they just kind of overextended and fed. Bit of a misplay there. US tanks slight feed. We'll just move on. Okay, so they swapped to the Hammond. Hammond isn't good into their comp, so I'm not really sure why Muma switched Hammond. I know USA liked running a lot of Hammond. So obviously Hammond's main counters are an Ana, a Sombra, and a Bridget. Those are like the three big things to look for as counters for Hammond. So it's not really that crazy that he goes Hammond since they only have one of those counters. But again, Hammond's also pretty weak into snipers because snipers kind of just like burn through him really hard. I'm not really sure why you could or US switch to Hammond there. I had a hard time trying to figure out how to translate what I saw in Overwatch World Cup games to my games. I'm plat. The meta seems so different. Is what they play. Yeah. The meta is just completely different. Big takeaway was trying to play Sombra because she's super strong. I normally play Kree Soldier. Yeah, the meta is different in every single elo. So it's like, here we'll draw it. So like, here's like your like bronze, silver. It's like down there. Then you go up a little bit, and then it's gold. Then you have plat. Then you have diamond. Then you have masters. Then you have grandmasters. Then you have like 4.2k. Then you have like 4.4k. Then you have like, this is all like its own little metasphere, right? Like each one of these plays different things, and it's like very varied depending upon the region you play in, what time you play in. Like comps are just crazy different in all these areas. Then this is just like all comp ladder. Then you get teams that play together, and then it's like, okay, well, you have like your 4.2k teams that play together, then you have like your 4.4k teams that play together, then you have like your 4.5k teams that you play together. Then you'll have like top open teams that play together, then you'll have like trials teams that play together, then you have like contenders. You're drawing with a pen is hard. Contenders teams, then you have, you know, obviously owl teams. And like in all of these brackets here as well, there's also caveats. Like, you know, there's good owl teams, there's bad owl teams, there's, you know, intermittent owl teams, then there's like academy contenders teams, then there's the good not academy teams, and there's the bad not academy teams. Then you have trials teams where it's like some teams are literally just a joke and are terrible, and then you have other teams that are actually really good and as good as academy teams, and then open teams where you have teams that are literally, you know, down here in like gold and silver, and then you have other teams that are, you know, 4.5k teams with like hard blue on it or whatever. You know, it's a huge differential, and each of these teams plays different things, right? Like in here, like the meta down in comp is very different from scrims, and scrims meta is completely different from any of these metas. Like all of these are separate, and they're all very different, and it's actually crazy. Like I don't even know what they play like below masters. I barely know what they play in masters. GM is completely different than what they play there. Like GM is actually very, very, very different. Like from 4 to 4.2k is like one meta, and then from 4.2 to like 4.4 is another meta, and then 4.4 plus is like just a completely different meta. It's like actually crazy. Like within this 400 SR range, you go from players who are boosted to players who are boosted playing with players who are professional at some level, to you have owl players playing with random people who are actually throwing and on a super lucky win streak. It's super crazy how it works. Translating stuff from pro play to your own play, if you're in a lower SR range, so like anything below masters tier, basically, it's basically like, okay, so anything below masters, the key takeaways are you cannot control your team, and you can't expect your team to actually be playing the video game, because you might as well just be playing with AI at that level. So the best thing you can do is just to like not tilt at all. Like you can just be hyper focused on your own gameplay. Try very specifically just to improve as much as you can individually, and then look at whatever pro player for your role. So like say for instance, you're an off tank player. So like, okay, I'm gonna look at what Space does, and I'm gonna try to understand why Space is doing this. So like, why is Space sitting here? Why is Space DMing here? Like, what is he doing? And then once you learn more about what the other person is doing and like why pro players are doing their things, then try to apply that to your game. So like, and don't do anything crazy too. Like, don't like say I'm gonna, you know, like watch like 4 hours of VODs and I'm gonna. It's like no. Start like very small. Like I'm gonna watch like a fight of a map and try to understand one thing he did, and then I'm gonna try to apply that for the next few days of my scrims. So it's like, again, say you're a diva player here and you want to like see what Space does, and you're like, okay, why does Space do this? Say like, okay, why does Space when his Hammond goes in, why does he DM him, right? Like why does he use his Matrix to protect the Hammond as he jumps? And then figure out why that happens. And if you don't understand, ask somebody who's better than you. You know, ask like your resident GM expert or whatever friend you have that's higher on the ladder or that plays that role or is a coach or something along those lines, and be like, hey, you know, why does Space DM Specs here? It's like, or why does Space DM Movement here? It's like, oh, well, when your main tank dives in, you want to make sure that you DM them so that you prevent initial chip damage so they can get their dive off without being poked out before they even die. And they're like, oh, okay. So then you're like, all right, well, if that's why Space does it, then I should probably do that. So how do I relate that? Okay, well, next time my Winston jumps or my Hammond rolls out, I should make sure to matrix them, and I should be looking for that to help them with that. But how do I do that if I'm playing Ryan, right? Like, okay, Ryan doesn't necessarily do that, so how do I translate that? It's like, okay, well, if I'm playing Ryan and I need to matrix them when they engage, that means that when they go for a charge or if they're playing for a shatter, then I should start DMing them. And then you realize that, and you start applying that to your gameplay, and then slowly but surely you can see that more and more integrated, and you'll start climbing SR, and you'll see more players doing that as well. And then once you have that down, you look at the next thing, you start integrating that. And you just keep doing that over and over and over again, and eventually you'll be at the point where the next thing you know, you're in Masters, and you're like, oh wow, I'm in Masters with Masters players, and the meta completely changed, and I have to learn what to do again. And you just keep doing that over and over again until you get to whatever SR you desire. And then once you get into the higher SRs, you know, people will be very, very vehement about what you're supposed to be doing if you're not doing it, because everybody has mics and yells at you. That's pretty great. But that being said, like, the game's basically the same at all levels. It's just, it's how you play it gets changed. Like, it's all the same heroes, it's all the same ideas. It's just people don't realize what to do with the different levels. Okay, so who should we spectate? Maybe we'll do top down for this one. Wait, Genocide, are you the one that I used to play with in Counter-Strike? Like, way back. It was like you and Terminube or something, I think, was who I played with. It's been a minute. Fusion gets slept, that's really, really big for US. I doubt it. Alright, unlucky. Different Genocide. Okay, so not too terrible gameplay from US. I really wasn't a big fan of them going Hammond, but it worked. So, you know, who am I to say? If it works, it works. I will not question the almighty Arrow and his coaching prowess. Okay, so Space does a good job of taking space here and just preemptively zoning. The rest of his team is trying to catch up. Not too many people lagging behind. So at this point, USA should be trying to take this high ground right in front of us for their snipers, and once they have it, they'll look to progress to point. What we expect them to see at least. On the other side, UK will be looking to Dragon. Hey, Dragon to zone, and then they will use Nano Winston to help collapse upon the zone targets from Dragon. It wasn't really necessary right here, in my opinion, because, I mean, USA wasn't even all there. They were really split anyway, so you probably could have just engaged with Nano Winston, but nonetheless, it's the thought that counts. Fusions goes deep and gets slapped. Feels unlucky to be Fusions, man. My mind hurts with all this new information. Sleep good, man. Okay, so at this point, both sides are just trading kills. They should be playing to focus point. US needs to regroup, get 6, and just push point. Yeah, that's a scuff fight from US. I don't really want to go back and get into it, but they split very hard and fed because they split very hard. Pro tip, don't split very hard. Easy. Who have we yet to look at? Smack's Fusions, dude. There's so many good players in Smash to look at. We'll look at Fusions for this match because Fusions is a great guy. 10 out of 10 gamer. Okay, so Fusions is looking to preemptively set up an angle so that he can collapse onto the backline of the US. Keep them dancing, take me home. Okay, so he hears the amp, so he goes. Easy peasy. He walks forward, starts pressuring out Raucus, bubbles. He bubbled early there. He could held bubble longer and then actually killed Raucus, but he bubbles early. And you can't chase out of the bubble into the Ana, because if you chase out of the bubble into the Ana will sleep you, and you won't be doing anything for the entire fight. So instead he decides to turn around and start zoning people on point. Smex gets picked early, but a fatty EMP from UK gets all of them. Oh, that's actually really big. Fusions got booped by space there, so he ended up falling off the map instead of landing. It's pretty big. So, oh, what the? Where am I? Okay, there we are, boys. I figured it out. Okay, back to point here. Okay. So that wasn't a bad fight for US. It was a little split the last fight, but this fight went well. They ended up shooting the right targets, not splitting too hard. focusing targets well, punishing people for overextending. Just in general, a pretty good fight from the US. Country roads take me home to the place I belong. Let's go ahead and skip forward a bit. 20 seconds deep. Alright, whatever, we'll go from here. Okay, on defense, USA is running... Okay, what are you doing, USA? Okay, so the composition that we currently see Team United States running is not the composition, in my opinion, that you should be playing here. Now, okay, the strength of Team USA's comp is it's very, very good against bunker comp, which is the Orisa, Mercy, Diva, the composition that basically just sits on the high ground and doesn't really ever move. It's very good into that because you have a lot of high burst and high HP. So you have 3 dive tanks that can all jump onto a stationary area very aggressively and apply a lot of zone control and damage, while also still having a high HP pool. Then you can have the Sombra go on a flank, or run it with a Genji and have Genji get snowballs off resets. That's fine. It's good against the control comp. What it's not so good against is literally anything else. It has an okay matchup into Goats, and it has a good matchup into bunker comp. What I'm assuming here is that USA thinks they're going to be running Ghosts, so they ran this. If they're going to assume that they're running Goats and run this because of it, I would have liked, like, I don't know. I personally think that it's not the best composition here, but I also don't know what I would run instead off the top of my head. So I can see why they're thinking it doesn't work. So basically what they think is going to happen is that UK will walk into this choke, right? And when they come into this choke, Zachary will get a hack onto something. Doesn't really matter what. He'll hack something. And then the rest of the tanks from USA will collapse and hit him. Which, in theory, should work. But if UK is running something that isn't Goats, or isn't bunker comps, then this comp is really bad for USA. And conversely, also, if United Kingdom walks as a group and just straight walks in here and sits there, US can't punish them. If they walk as a group and walk in here, USA can't punish them. If they wrap onto any of the high grounds and then go to point, USA can't really punish them. It's a very situational comp that USA is running, where it's very good if they run Goats and they walk here, and you can collapse on them while they're walking here. But if they do anything else, it's kind of going to have issues. Especially since Zachary's been getting picked off earlier a lot this map, which would be concerning for me, running that again. I'd maybe think about switching it to a different comp, running like a double spam with snipers on high ground, running a bunker comp yourself. Bunker is not really super good, but I mean, it's not that bad. You could also just run Goat's Mirror and just say you won't play Pharah. Like, I don't know. Like, Kip and Mikey aren't known as Pharah players. They're known as, like, I don't know. I think it'd be a play. Zachary feeds, unlucky. USA isn't able to engage a choke because they're not running Goats, which is their engage condition. So USA has a bit of an awkward situation here. Fusions does a good job of pressuring out to the point. What we want to see. Just being good, aggressive pressuring. USA does get the engage off, but they aren't able to get a kill. And with USA's comp, if you don't kill somebody on the initial engage, it's very bad. Oh, I forgot to mention, another reason why USA's comp, in my opinion, is not good here is realistically USA needs to be playing to hold this point, hold the first, right? But playing triple tank dive, you're going to have a tank die during this. And I don't think it makes sense to run a comp where you're essentially planning on trading off one player per engage. Just because the attackers have such a spawn advantage on the defenders, that doesn't make sense to play for respawn trades. USA re-engages, or sorry, UK re-engages. Sinatra does a little roly-poly and gets like low, so he has to walk away. And at this point, like, USA can't really re-engage, they don't have all their players, so they're waiting for everybody to more or less get here. They go for a scuffed engage. UK counter dives on the dive and punishes it very hard. At this point, it's going to be hard for USA to win this fight. Players are out of LOS of the Ana Lucio are getting dove and killed. Yeah, this is a lost fight for USA. Really weird comp choice from USA. Definitely not a fan. Sinatra has ult, so he can drop the mines, but I'm not sure if that's really going to give value. UK does a good job of taking high ground control here. This is what we want to see them doing. Once you have control of high ground, you can look to play from there onto something else. But you always want to do the fundamentals, right? You know, take space, grab high ground, look to pressure out the point, clear zones, all that stuff. Sinatra early engages. His team wasn't even... I mean, I guess his team's in position. I don't know. I guess this isn't about engage. Sinatra goes in, gets bashed, gets stunned, is forced to ult so he doesn't die. Muma jumps on the backline right as they Valk, so he's forced to disengage. Fusion zones. That Trank doesn't really seem needed, but I guess. They Trank just to be extra aggressive. Yeah, the Trank definitely wasn't needed. Sinatra gets blown up because he overextends again. Fusions is a god and picks off Rockets with Trank. Or sorry, with Primal. At this point, USA is just going to give 2 takes and re-engage. They give 2 takes, Mumu walks in, gets blown up before he can get Primal off. Sinatra goes in, doesn't get value with his thingy. UK's backline all decides to feed for no reason. A little confused about that one. At this point, UK can still win this fight, so they're just focusing point. Zachary's forced to commit the blade to clean it up because they don't want to lose. Smex is doing a bang-up job of selling point as long as humanly possible. And that's the half. Okay, so Boombox wasted Trank. If he hadn't wasted Trank, he could have saved it and do better. Space hits a fatty Diva Bomb for no apparent reason because UK decides to just not touch point. Or decides to not LS it, which is kind of weird. This is basically all but over. They're just waiting for UK to lose at this point. And thinking about next and moving on from there. How is UK still in this fight? USA should have won this like an hour ago. UK went in 1 by 1 by 1 by 1 by 1 by 1 by 1, and they still haven't been killed yet. USA target focus is a little monk-ass right now. Definitely need to be shooting the same target more efficiently. Okay, yeah, that was weird. Definitely a faster cleanup time. Needed to come out of USA and be able to cycle kills faster there. Okay, so this is it. Can USA not choke a map? Please, USA, no choke. Thank you. That being said, they're probably going to choke a map, so we'll probably all be really sad pandas. Okay, UK on their defense is running double sniper dive tanks. I like this. This is good. Double sniper is good against dive. It's good against goats. It's good against Far Mercy. It's good against snipers. It's good against bunker comp. It's good against a lot of comps. Double sniper has been the classic comp on this map for a really long time for a reason. It's very solid. On the other side, USA is running Hammond Diva Widow Tracer. Okay, so they're running a classic Widow Tracer dive, but with a Hammond instead of Winston. I don't know why they're running Hammond instead of Winston. Maybe they think Winston has too hard of a time engaging a double sniper, which could make sense. That might be why. That'd actually make a lot of sense. Hammond gets a good flank engage, and then he can engage without taking as much focus as Winston. That's actually a pretty big brain. I like that. Muma gets a nice flank setup. So at this point, Muma's just waiting for his engage from the flank. The rest of the team is waiting for Muma to engage to be engaging. Sinatra tries to go to follow up on Muma's flank here over on the right, but Fusions does a good job of zoning him, so Space is forced to help him. Muma is now solo committing onto the back line of UK, which I'm not sure how that'll work out, but we'll see. And the rest of UK is just trying to controlling space. Heal for Fusions because he gets low from the dive. He actually dies. That's really, really good for USA. Boombox also gets killed by Muma, which is really good for them. Okay, those are actually... Oh, he does some Venom Mine, though. That definitely shouldn't happen. Okay, unlucky. That had previously, up until this point, been a really good engage from USA. The flank by Muma was really, really, really big brain in hindsight, and the rest of the team did a good job of punishing Fusions. Then they all decide to feed for some... So, real quickly. Here Moth dies to Peking a Widow. Here's the rest of the USA players that are alive. And then we have Raucus over here. I'm a little bit curious as to what Raucus is doing here. I guess he thought that he could go assassinate the Hanzo? He's about to sleep him. Hanzo's about to shoot. We'll see how this plays out for him. Actually, let's go super slow-mo and analyze this gameplay. Okay, so Raucus misses his sleep on the assassination. Hanzo pops Stormbow. Raucus should be peeing his pants and running away. Raucus misses the first shot, lands the nade early. Risky play nading while the Hanzo is about to Stormbow you. Hanzo double jumps over, misses the first arrow, misses the second arrow. Raucus misses his arrow. Cruz comes to pocket the purple kib, and Raucus runs away. Okay, very interesting engage there. Thought we'd take the time to explore that. Okay, back to what was originally happening. Fusions regroups and comes to point. During all this, Muma's on a beautiful little flank, and he's once again onto the back line. He is full Metro. USA is very split engaged. They're focusing point. Muma committing there is a big no-no. Don't do that. Muma should have died for that. He should have just focused point, wait for them to come out, and then do that. Sinatra goes in and gets rolled by Boombox. Smex contests point and gets demeched and instantly picked. Zac gets picked by Fusions. Muma's again on the flank. Gets nanoballed. Dragon comes in, zoning out Raucus and Moth. Muma's not getting healed because Raucus and Moth are once again going on a merry little adventure. Let's go ahead and go over here and explore this adventure they're about to go on. Oh, I remember this. This is actually a really big brain. Cruz heard Moth's amp over here, right? So Cruz is sitting here. He hears through the wall, he hears Moth's amp and turns around and starts zoning them and calls to his team to help him, which ends up getting them 2 kills here, I'm pretty sure. It was like actually crazy big brain. Cruz is such a good player. If you're a main support player and you're trying to get better, watch Cruz. Cruz is a really good player to watch. Go into the World Cup viewer and just sit here and stare at Cruz because he knows what he's doing. So he Glockies Raucus, hits him with a nade. Moth tries to commit and dies. The attempted flank from USA did not work. Don't do it now, though. Finish watching this review, then go watch him. Yeah. Please, thank you. I love you, viewers. Okay, at this point, USA lost the fight already because their backline decided to throw. Unlucky. UK is back to controlling the point. Everything's reset. USA is burnt 2 minutes doing nothing. At this point, I would have said go goats and walk point, but that's just me. They swap to Winston Hammond Diva. Because why not? Sure. I'm really curious as to why they're doing it. Why would they swap that and not just go full dive? Maybe they think that they want to just guarantee the collapse and make space for Zachary's Widow to get value? And they want to play for hard engage and chokes, and they think that this is going to be better than running an extra DPS? I guess that'd be the decision making behind that. Muma tries to clear high ground, Smex zones, Fusions goes on a little merry chase to go zone Zachary. Space is by himself rotating the point. Raucus and Moth are in a really awkward position because they can't really sit anywhere, because if they sit anywhere they get killed by the snipers. Fusions is completely negating the only DPS Team USA has, which is a completely value trade. If you can trade out the literal only DPS on the other team an entire fight, that's pretty good. Cruz pops Valk early. Space Diva bombs in. Cruz kills Space while he's baby. And gets the res off. Fusions is in the back line primaling Zachary. Sinatra gets killed, and that's the fight, boys and girls. I would like the record to state that I still don't agree with this comp that the US is running, and I really think they should have not run this comp. I think this is definitely helping him. Yo, Felty, thank you for the host, my doggy. What a boy. Thank you, Felty. Alright, so, coming to this last fight, can USA do it? Tune in next week to find out. Alright, so they're still on the comp that doesn't make sense. It makes a little bit more sense now because they got off the Widow. They've burned 3 minutes of their time doing nothing with a bad comp. And they're looking to engage. On the other side, UK is running... They have Dragon and Diva Bomb. I expect for them to use the Diva Bomb to control the point with the Dragon combo. Just zone one with the other and then use the other one to clear it up. Big spam coming in. Here comes the Dragon to zone, which we see gets Zachary to 1 HP. He almost dies off of that. Diva Bomb is forced by a Smex. Muma gets a big primal, but gets blown up nonetheless. That actually really sucks. If Muma had time to jump away there, he would have lived, but unfortunately he didn't have time to. Okay, USA should be winning this fight. They're in a 4v4 but have respawn advantage, and if they focus the point, should just win. Sinatra does a great job of killing Cruz. Kib gets Sinatra on the respawn. Mikey gets purpled and should be cleaned up by Muma. Yeah, okay. USA definitely should win this. There's no way USA can lose this. If they lose this, they're actually big noobs. Okay, so now USA needs to be thinking about the snowball for next fight. So, they're coming into this next fight with Hammond ult, a beat, and that's about it. So they should be playing to take control of the point, commit Hammond ulti, and once they have Hammond ulti on point, beat to sustain if necessary. On the other side, UK has a Trank, which they should be using to counter the dive of the USA. That should be the expected play here. We'll see if that actually happens or not. What's up, Micah? Okay. Here comes the USA engage. They collapse on smacks, which is a little weird. Okay, so 2 tanks commit to smacks. Muma solo commits by himself to point. They beat to keep everybody alive because people were already low on HP. Zachary dashes onto a brig by himself and gets stunned because he dashed onto a Bridget by himself. US is kind of split, but they're starting to reset back together to point. Zachary dies because he dashed into a Bridget, which is definitely not the play. Muma forces the translocator out of Kib. Fusions is just sitting here AFK zapping Muma to death. Sinatra gets nanoed as he disengages and is forced to come back late. Space sends a deep Diva Bomb into the backline. This is actually a really good combo here. Okay, so what happens is Space throws the Diva Bomb this way, and as this happens, Sinatra ults here, which basically means that you, as UK, you're either forced to walk into the Hammond mines and die to Hammond mines, or you're forced to die to Diva Bomb. So it's a really good combo play for them here. JK, Sinatra doesn't ult. Sinatra should have ulted there. Okay. Ignore what I just said, chat. Sinatra, there we go. That's unfortunate. He ults finally, but gets knocked back during the ult, so it doesn't get the value that he wanted to. If he had ulted sooner, he would have killed Cruz, or forced Trank way earlier from Boombox, which might have actually won them this fight. If they lose, it's definitely Sinatra's fault. Or at least, it is partly Sinatra's fault for that play. Muma gets hacked and stunned, and is inside UK's trans. They should be able to pick him off. Not quite. He gets it. Oh no! Fusion's can still kill him. Fusion's the hero. Fusion gets Muma. That's big. He ends up trading main tanks there is fine for UK. They have faster respawns anyways. 10 seconds. US has to take this fight. How are they taking this? They don't have any ults at all. They only have Blade coming back in late. So they need a huge Blade, which means they need to focus Brig very hard to force her to use stun so they can get the engage. Hammond engages, they get the stun out. This is the go-go for Zachary when he gets Blade. That's a big rally. That's really going to hurt the Blade chances. Smex goes deep and gets demeched and killed. Meanwhile, Space is solo contesting point and does the same. Here comes the Blade. Mikey's not able to peel for it, so this is all going to be on Cruz. Let's go ahead and wheel over to Cruz cam. Does he end up getting the peel? Shoots. Gets our armor pack. That's a really big armor pack there. Okay, so the armor pack there for Mikey saves the backline, because if he didn't get armor pack, Cruz would have died, which meant Zach could continue on to hit Boombox and finish the kill there. And the rest of the USA trickles in one by one and ends up getting picked and killed. Yeah, so I'm not saying it was 100% Sinatra's fault, but Sinatra definitely contributed to the loss here. UK also ran, or not the UK, sorry, the USA also ran a lot of compositions that, while I think in theory could work, in practice didn't get a lot of value, and I think they stuck on those compositions for too long and should have swapped. I think it doesn't really make sense when you have a DPS player the caliber of Sinatra and Zachary to be only running one DPS the entire time and continuing to try to force tanks. Once again, I think, to reiterate what I had said earlier on in the stream, I think a lot of the issue that we see in this matchup between USA and UK is that USA was so busy thinking that UK was a free win that they were prepping super hard for SK and what comps they expected South Korea to run, but they weren't prepared for Goat's mirror matchups, and they weren't prepared for other odd strategies that might be coming out from the side of UK. And because of that, they fell victim. Specifically in the Goats matchup. We saw that on King's Row specifically, that the Goats matchup was really, 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 really weak for USA. And it just seems like they weren't prepared at all to do mirror matchup against UK. Let's do the last map of the series, and then we'll call it a night for the review, probably, because we've been going for a while now. Alright, should we do top down, or should we look at a player? Chat, do you have a strong opinion? Should we look at a player, or should we do top down? Say in the do-do-do if you have a strong opinion one way or the other. We did mostly top down for the last map, so I'll leave it up to you guys. Don't underestimate your opponent. You are completely correct. You should go into every map respecting your opponents and the ability that you might just randomly lose them, because you never know.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
Ooh, USA breaks out the rare quad tank. I like it. Quad tank forward hold was really popular for a really long time on a lot of maps recently, so it's not surprising to see them break this out. I'm not the biggest fan of this, but I'm a big fan of this hold. A player? Alright, let's go ahead. Player, don't mind who. Who should we look at? Who's an important person to look at? We'll look at the tank matchup. So we'll be hyper focused on that. We won't necessarily do POV, but we'll look very closely at how the tanks play. I think tanks will really be defining this matchup and how people play around them. Okay, so Space does a good scouting job here. That's what we talked about earlier. As a deeper player, you should be scouting. Okay, so... Oh, what did I do? I broke it, chat. Hold on. Alright, we're good. Everything's fine? Okay, everything's fine. I didn't break anything. Nobody said anything. Everything's fine. Okay, so at this point, UK knows what they're running. The jig's up. At this point, USA is just playing to play the point. They flipped the map, which is good for UK. If you ever get it so that the opposing team is spawn holding you, if you can flip it so that they're sitting next to your spawn door, that is very good for you, because your respawners will be walking out of their backline and being able to do free damage from spawn onto them, which is what we see here. Zach goes for a really aggro hook, which I respect, but it didn't get value, so it's not good. Because if the hook goes down for the US, then that enables UK to engage. When playing against quad tank, the weakness of quad tank is isolated players and the supports. So those are the two things that you want to be capitalizing on when facing quad tank. You want to kill the supports or kill isolated players. So as UK right here, you should be looking for those things to see what you can capitalize on. UK, specifically in this matchup, in this mirror, will 100% win if they just walk at them and engage as well, because of the fact that they're running a Zen, and US is not, and they also have a Bridget on the side of UK, so they have much more combo capability, and they also have the Discords. Okay, so we see both Zaryas use self-bubbles early. I'm going to slow it down real quick for this fight. So both Zaryas use self-bubble early. Fusions gets his bubble earlier than Muma, which means he maintains more HP. Not a big deal because USA does have a healing advantage. USA is not contesting the cart though. This is definitely a misplay from USA. They should 100% be sitting on the cart. Because if cart starts moving, this is very bad for them, because this means USA has to be the one engaging rather than the team that is reacting to the engage, which is pretty detrimental for them here. They should have a very hard time. So they start walking forward. Muma contests cart. He gets stunned. They don't have bubble to counter the stun, so he gets blown up. Fusion swings and gets hooked. UK rushes in to save him. Fusions gets pinned. Muma gets blown up. Fusions gets healed and lives. The bubble goes on the wrong player, but it doesn't even matter. Space gets bubbled to try to finish Fusion and goes deep to try to do it. Doesn't end up finishing Fusion and loses mech, so this is a lost fight at this point for USA, as long as Fusions doesn't, or as long as UK doesn't throw. At this point, it's a very, very solid fight for UK. They should just win this by default. Yeah. Really clean fight from UK. They did a good job. They forced the rotation onto USA. Then once they forced the rotation, they played to the cart, forced the objective. Once the objective was forced, then they did really, really clean fight. Yo, Micah, thanks for the follow, doggy. Okay, so at this point, UK is just chilling on cart, minding their own business. Not doing anything too crazy. Boombox is trying to farm Trank before the fight starts. Kib's up on the high ground. Everything's all okay doke. Oh my, okay, hold on. We need to see what happened here. How did this shatter occur? Pleasing inform. Okay. Fusions drops, Muma drops. Okay, they go for Bash Shatter. Muma just drops shield. Sometimes you just drop shield. That's unlucky. UK uses beam to help sustain after that. USA uses beam to help sustain after that. UK already gets 2 picks, so it doesn't really matter. At this point, it should be a 1 fight from UK as long as they don't throw. That was really weird from Muma. Muma's a really good tank player. You don't really expect him to not see it. Did he not get hit by stun? No. Here, we can rewind and look. Watch again. He dropped shield and got shattered, and then the stun hit. We watch right here. Okay. So, we look. Brig is up on the high ground, not doing anything. Oh, I goofed. Hold on, chat. I goofed. I hit the wrong button. Okay. Okay. So, Brig on the high ground, Brig on the high ground, Brig on the high ground, Brig on the high ground. Brig on the high ground when the shatter goes off. Hammer lands here. Muma drops shield here. Brig hasn't bashed yet. Is hit by shatter. Bash and Grav come in. Or not Grav, sorry. Bash and right click from Zarya come in. So he's stunned while on the ground. We can also we can rewind it like this and watch it as well with the icons on, and we should be able to see if it said that if he was stunned or not. Go ahead and get a camera angle of this. Slow this down nice and slow. Yeah, so he didn't get stunned until after the shatter already landed. Yeah, so Muma just drops shield and dies, which is pretty unfortunate. Not something that you really want to see. Big Grav that gets the big eat. Unluck. What is going on? USA has lost this fight a long time ago. They should not be recommitting to this fight, and they should not be using ults in this fight. This is really sloppy from US. This is an ego play. 100% an ego play. This is the we can win this fight even though we're in a losing position, so we're going to commit the fight and use ults in a losing situation. Definitely should have been communicated on the side of USA that this is a dry fight and to not take it. Or if you are taking it, to just die card dry and don't use ults. Coming into this next fight, UK is playing for another shatter play, and on the other side, USA needs to get the fattest grab of their life. Yeah. The UK is a very, 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 very good GOATS team, and Fusion's is a very, very, very good GOATS player, so he should be having shatter every single fight, basically. Okay, so coming to this fight, they're looking for a Bash Shatter. Muma's in Narnia, dropping to low ground. Zachary's going ham on the D.Va. Okay, so on King's Row, we talked about when you have Grav and you want to be playing for Grav, you want to stun the D.Va to enable Grav. So what we see here is Zachary goes very aggressive onto said D.Va with Sinatra in tow and stuns the D.Va so they can get Grav off. So expect Sinatra to Grav in a second here and expect Fusions to get a 3k shatter. We'll see if it happens. Nope. D.Va gets stunned, communicated, they Grav. Muma and Fusion start playing together. And I'm not saying I'm a psychic, but I'm a little bit of a psychic, chat. So they all focus on the Grav, leaving Fusions free in their backline to get a shatter. I'm assuming they didn't think Fusions had a shatter that fast, or Muma just lost him during the fight somewhere. But at this point, it's a one fight for UK. I didn't even watch this match live, guys. I'm insane. Country roads, take me home. This is really good pressure here from UK. They're just setting up on the high ground very aggressively. Muma's doing his best to flank. Again, they're running the Hammond. Like, Hammond's good into Goats. Yeah, it's better than Winston, but like, why not just run Goats? Like, I don't know. I mean, I guess if you're getting bodied in Goats Mirror, you don't really want to keep running Goats Mirror, but it's like switching to this anti-goats so late into second phase is really awkward, because like at this point, UK already has tempo, they already have spawn holds, they already have ults. It's just like, it's super scuffed, in my opinion, to try to anti-goats now. It's like a little bit too little too late. This is like when you'd want to be swapping to goats to try to counter goats with goats, but it's just my opinion. UK resets the cart just to play the objective. Mikey has a grab here, so he's basically just waiting for anything useful to be in, like, not Diva Matrix area, and then just grab it. Rock is hard zoned here by himself. Fusions feeds, I don't know what that was. Cruz beats to try to save Fusion feed, doesn't get value, so he goes to zone Raucus again. USA really does not want to play goats. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like I said earlier, I think USA was really underprepared for their matchup against UK, and specifically in Goats Mirror. I don't think they put nearly enough time into Goats Mirror, because they didn't think it would be important, because they didn't expect, well, one, I don't think they expected SK to run goats, and two, I think they were specifically preparing anti-goat strats to play into SKs if they did run goats, which is why we see them playing so many weird comps that are basically like anti-goats, but kind of not really anti-goats. I think that was the thought process behind USA's decision. I could be completely wrong, though. At this point, it's an evolve fight. UK was in a bad spot until that grab. That grab's pretty big. They don't have any shields, so Grab Diva is a completely free combo that should guarantee kills, which it does. At this point, it's a pretty scuffed fight for USA. It's going to be very hard for them to win this, since UK has respawners and numbers. Or, I guess it's even on numbers. That's a big pick. Sinatra's trying his best, but Doomfist into Bridget is no bueno. Zach didn't build Barrage fast enough because Moth was forced to kill other people and not damage boost, so no Barrage for him. I would be very surprised if they stick this comp for second phase, because it's pretty poop. Alright, they decide to swap. They're on... Okay. They're on Mountain Goats minus the Winston with a Doomfist. We'll see if it works. This comp is interesting. So, in theory, what USA should be doing here is they should be having Hammond int in, and then bubbling the Doomfist and having Doomfist follow up. That would be my idea of what they should be doing here. And then on the other side, UK should be playing to Trank the Doomfist engage, kill the Doomfist, and then use Trank to continue chasing all the rest of the kills. It's a big Diva Bomb. Big Diva Bomb off the back of a bunch of boops from the side of Hammond and Doomfist. Not sure which, but it was a good engage either way. At this point, it's a lost fight for UK, so they should be running back to their spawn to live. Sinatra is going super ham because he has ult, and he actually gets out without even having to use ult, which is even better. Using ult there would be pretty bad for him, so getting out with it is pretty good. Coming to this next fight, Fusions has another Shatter, so guess what they're playing for? That's right, Shatter. And on the other side, United States is a Nano, so expect a Nano on Zachary if I had to guess. I think Nanoing Zachary here makes the most sense, since you want him to be able to build Grav to combo with Doomfist and Hammond. So, since he's decently charged right now, I expect a Nano on him to help him build Grav a little bit faster. Let's get into a camera angle that actually makes sense without me running into the ceiling 5 times in a row. Okay, so Nano Doomfist instead. Nano Doomfist is pretty good in goats. You can basically like one-shot a lot of things, so that's really solid. He goes ham, is forced to ult. The rest of the team's a little split. Hammond and Doom are extensively like way forward, and everybody else is kind of in the back. He should not be continuing to engage with his Doomfist ult, I'm pretty sure. Maybe unless they have bubble. If they have bubble, does he have bubble? Zachary, do you have bubble? You have bubble. Okay, he has bubble. They can engage. They can keep going deep. Which he does. He goes deep, gets bashed out of the bubble, and dies. Probably shouldn't have gone deep. And then there's a fat shatter because they don't have a shield. USA, please go goats. Like, if your counter goats aren't working because they have snowball and tempo, like after they use a combo, just swap over to goats and just mirror and just be more aggressive than they are and follow up on the damage. That'd be my suggestion, but not what they're doing. They're going goats with the Doom. Goats with Doom can work. They have to engage first. They get engaged on though. So with goats with Doom, you need to be engaging first, or at least landing a fat punch to follow up on. UK does a good job of engaging first into them and just kind of running at people. Muma tries to counterpin but doesn't hit. UK is super deep. Cruz and Boombox are just AFK on cart, minding their own business. And UK has already won the fight by this point. And this should just be a one fight from the side of the UK. It would just be all over from here. Yep. Alright, nice. Let's go ahead and wrong button. Let's go ahead and skip forward a bit.
Ready for battle. Ready for
Okay. Okay, so UK is running goats finally, or sorry, US is running goats finally. Thank God. UK on the other side is running the quad tank that USA ran, so they're basically just running it back at them. So now, if we're thinking about this logically, right? We saw this exact matchup happen about 5 minutes ago. So if I was USA, I'd remember and say, hey, we should wrap high ground and flip the map, because that's what they did to us, and that worked really well. Let's see if USA does that. Hopefully they do, because they literally just saw how to play it. I'm on double speed, don't I? Yeah, okay, there you go. They don't do that. Instead, they kind of just walk forward. They get split, and they get picked. That's pretty unlucky. Once again, just to reiterate, about 5 minutes ago in this very same match, we had this exact situation, and UK went up here, flipped the map, and then engaged. It's what you should do. That's how you counter this. If you have a team quad tank holding you in your spawn, you flip the map on them, and then you engage from there. So let's see if they USA is able to do that. Take me home to the place I belong. Switching, yeah, don't split. That too. Definitely don't split when you're playing goats. It's kind of bad to split when you're playing goats. Okay, so remember how a second ago we said don't split when you're playing goats, and we said to take the high ground. They do both of those at the same time, which is not what we want to see happen. We want to see them take high ground as 6, not as 3. They managed to regroup before anybody dies. That's good. Fusions has a shatter. Muma's at 60%. It's kind of bad. They beam aggressively to try to save Mikey. Mikey gets punished regardless. Fusion's looking for a shatter, and he's about to hit a 4-man. JK. Okay, he gets nobody. Unlucky. Muma gets blown up. Late trying to save Muma. UK should be losing this fight, so they shouldn't be using ults. They should just be jumping off the cliff. They shouldn't be really trying to win this fight, because it's a lost fight for them. Okay, so going to this next fight, USA is playing probably for a Shatter and then a Grav Diva. That'd be my guess. And on the other side, UK is playing for their own Grav Diva. Fusions is very forward and very aggressive and gets stunned because of it. Gets bubbled during the stun, so he lives, which is good. Cruz comes over to save him with Amp Heal. They really can make him. Cruz is probably going to have to beat here to keep him alive. Wasn't able to get it off. Oh, I don't know. I wasn't even Cruz beating. I don't know. Mikey, not Mikey. Fusion's got up there. He was too aggressive, and the team didn't follow up with him. So either the team needed to be more aggressive, or Mikey or Cruz. Not Cruz. Wait, Fusion's. That's the one I'm looking for. Fusion should have played more passively, or the rest of the team for UK should have played more aggressively to play around him. Mouth beats just to secure the fight and make sure they continue pushing. This is good for US. This is like a really, really good fight for US. They still have all of their combos coming into the next fight for CC ults, which is exactly what you want to see happening. They're going to be able to get the Poggers engages off of this. Okay, on the high ground, US or UK is retaking. Again, they'll be playing for Grav Diva here most likely, so expect to see that in a second here. They get Grav Diva before they can touch. Big combo from USA. Good job. USA's doing great, dude. Like, I don't know why they weren't playing goats yet. This is great. Like, they had good combos. They punished efficiently. This is all, like, this particular last 2 fights have been textbook goats from USA. Very good play overall. I don't know. It's crazy. USA plays good goats right now. I don't know why they weren't doing good goats earlier and playing goats earlier. Okay, Moon was playing very aggressive here. Okay, so in this situation, if I was you to say, I'd like holding aggressive here. I like being aggressive. I also think that you should be kiting back to cart to try to buy as much time as possible before the fight starts. So start forward, start kiting back towards cart, and then like right there-ish probably, then re-engage onto the rest of UK and play for your combo. But just like play a little bit aggressive, force out resources, start kiting back to buy time, and then re-engage to set tempo on them again when they're not expecting it. Be my suggestion. UK does a good job of countering this by just wrapping to play the cart, forcing USA to rotate in a different direction, which is good. Good heads up play from UK. UK should be engaging here with Grav Diva before USA can engage with Shatter, which is what we see. There comes a big old Grav Shatter. Or Grav Diva, and a Shatter trying to get value but doesn't really get anything. So at this point, UK has won the fight nice and clean. Good job from them. Fusions has another Shatter, so coming into this next fight, UK should be playing for a back Shatter. On the other side, USA doesn't have any ult, so they just need to like hard group, push the target, and focus that target down.
Routing power to forward shield.
Okay, so they dealt triple support ulti on the side of UK, which is a lot of support ults to be used at once. Definitely should have staggered this. Misplay on the side of UK for double support ulting. They should have communicated if they're using Trank or if they're using Beat and not use both at once. It's okay to combo one with the rally, but not use all three at the same time, obviously. Kib gets kind of isolated. Fusions doesn't hit anything with a Shatter. This is a bad fight for UK at this point. It's a big Shatter onto Boombox. They should be able to punish that. He gets armored, so they don't. Trading fight, USA should be winning this in the long run though. So at this point, UK should be resetting without using ults and just get ready to go next. Okay. Any ult second now, they should get a regroup. 4 minutes of this? Alright, easy. Okay, so coming to this next fight, USA is playing for a Grav Diva combo again. Again, they should be engaging before the other person does. And on the other side, UK is also playing for a Grav Diva. So whichever side gets their Grav Diva off first, after forcing the most resources, will win. So if you can force out both bubbles and then Grav, or force out a support ulti and then Grav, any of those combinations is pretty solid for them. They UK solo grabs Muma and Diva bombs him, which kills him. That's great. That's a good pick. You're up numbers. You should be playing aggressive off that now. US does a good job of not committing ults in this lost fight, and they just kind of kite back. They think they can get a re-engage in here, so they commit Grav, and I'm assuming Diva bomb as well in a second here, and Trank to keep everybody up. I don't think the Trank was needed. I think everybody was pretty much okay on HP. I would have held Trank, but Grav Diva combo can work. Counter Trank to keep everybody alive. Fusions is a god and blocks it. They pop Rally and Beat. They're still down their main tank, I'd like to point out. And both sides are tranking, so it's kind of even. You're not really going to get a kill in this situation. So it's a little bit sketch, but Muma should be back soon. So it's not that bad. I don't agree with popping the ult though for US. I think they could have held Trans, they could have held Beat. If you want to use Rally and push off that, sure, but you don't need to use all three of those support ultis at the same time to push in. So they're pushing together. They managed to D-max Max, which is really good on them. Muma gets stunned again and gets like super chunky, super low right now. He has to play safe. Fusions has another Shatter, so he's going to be playing for that. USA and UK are both pretty split here. We've got Mikey, Mumo 1v1ing together in the corner. Raucus and Zach playing a card together, and the rest of UK is fighting Space, Moth, and Sinatra. At this point, Fusions is looking to find where everybody is, so he knows if he can Shatter or not. And then they'll be playing for a Bash Shatter here, which is what we see Kib going for. Kib armors Fusions, goes for the Bash Shatter, gets it off. Nice and clean. Crisp, clean play, boys. And then that's a lost fight for USA. This is super sketch for USA. You have 50 seconds left on the clock. UK has a Grav Diva coming into the next fight and a Trank, and all you have is your Grav. No, you have Grav Diva. Okay, USA has ult here. They should be fine. It's just they need to make sure they engage before UK engage and actually get value, because if they don't, that's going to be bad news bears. Okay, so Sinatra gets stunned early, so he can't get Grav off, even though he was looking for it. And then UK manages to get the Grav first, of course, because of that. Sinatra counter grabs the wall next to him. Not very helpful. 20 seconds left. Muma's about to have Shatter, so USA needs to hit a fat Shatter here if they want to win. Boombox also needs to not get hit by the Shatter and be able to Trank it. Rally coming in from UK to keep everybody alive. Muma hits a fat Shatter, including Boombox, which is the person they needed to hit. Boombox gets Trank off in time. And Fusion shields the Diva Bomb. Really big play so far from UK. Both sides are tranking. UK or US is also rallying. That's a big Diva Bomb from Smex. Forces all of them away. Muma pins and gets fusions, which is really big for them. Cruz dies before he can do anything, and Fusions also dies. This should be a 1-5 from US coming into this next fight. Alright, this should be a 1-5 from USA, so we're gonna go ahead and fast forward. Okay, so this is going to be probably the last fight for them. So USA is playing for a Shatter, and on the other side, UK is playing for another Grav. Mikey's been doing a really good job of farming Grav super fast. Okay, Shatter only hits Bridget. Can't really do anything about that. Fusions is looking for his Shatter here. Both sides are kiting. Fat Shatter from Fusions. That's a game-winning Shatter right there. Okay, so UK is going to be playing aggressive with Grav Diva here. There's only 48 seconds left. If they win one fight, they basically win the game. So UK is playing for Grav Diva. On the other side, USA is retaking, and they're playing for Trank to counter that and get a really clean engage off of it. Grav and Diva gets used before USA can do anything. They're forced to Trank the Grav. Diva Bomb kills Muma and DMX Space. This is excellent for UK. They've basically won at this point. All they have to do is just not throw. Feels good, man. Coming to the next fight, Fusions almost has a Shatter. They're all rallied up in full armor. This is very, very good for UK. They'll beat the sustain, Trank after, and play for Shatter. USA on the other side needs to hit a fat rally into a Diva Bomb. Space goes behind on cart. They get a good engage on the spawn. They kite back the cart to clear it. Fusions is a god and hits a fat Shatter. Story of the map, boys. Okay, so overall, like I said earlier, USA did not prep enough for UK. They didn't study the GOATS matchup enough and got punished very hard because of that. In general, I don't know. It was just a scuffed set from USA. Definitely disappointed in their finish. They could have done better. They definitely underperformed this series, and I'm very disappointed to see it. Composition choices for USA also didn't make a lot of sense. Congrats to UK for how well they did. That's going to conclude the stream for today, boys. Thank you for tuning in. Every weekday at 11 Eastern, I will be doing reviews. Tomorrow we'll be doing... who will we be doing tomorrow? Tomorrow will be probably Canada versus France and part of China versus Finland. So make sure to stop in for that. Thank you guys for stopping by. Thank you for all the follows. I love all of you. Have a great night, and I hope your day tomorrow is also amazing. Thank you.